Hello, YouTubers. It's Barbie J here. Welcome to my channel, June BLC. Hey there, everybody. It's your girl, Barbie J here with the recap and review of The Equalizer, Season 5, Episode 7, Sleigh Ride. That's right, and it was a ride. This was a good episode, y'all, and I have to tell you why. Because Miles and Marcus get to meet. That's what I'm talking about. Oh my goodness. So before we jump into this recap, if you are new here, if you're returning here and have not subscribed to this channel as of yet, please take a moment right now, hit that subscribe button, then hit the notification bell and select all. It'll let you know every time I upload any new content to this channel. Then I ask that you smash that like button, which is the thumbs up button, write a comment and join our conversation, and then share because sharing is caring. Help assist the channel grow for the holidays. That's right. Hit the like button for the holidays. Subscribe for the holidays. Help my channel grow. That's what I'm asking of you. That's all I want. And everything that is free. That is free, y'all. Anyway, this episode starts off with a man and a woman. They're getting out of a car and his phone rings. He stops to answer and his wife says, "No business calls at my mother's house." At that point, there's this woman, it's a hit woman, an assassin or something. She comes from behind a car and she's about to shoot them when Marcus jumps up from behind another car and shoots her. And this lady's name is Lamadad or something. I'm going to call him Dante when he's working as a federal agent. I like the last name. I'll call him Marcus when we talk about him and Robin together. I hope y'all don't mind. So Dante shoots her, and while she's on the ground, he's yelling, "Get an ambulance," and she's like telling him, "I'm going to kill you. You're a dead man." And he just looks at her. And then it switches to Christmas Eve morning over at Robin's place. She is in the kitchen cooking and has banned Aunt Vi from entering to do any cooking. And Vi is not happy about this, especially because it's the holiday. But Robin wants to do this as, a gesture of kindness for all she's been through. So Vi notices Robin is cooking a goose. And she's like, "I know you like gooses." She was like, "Oh no, Miles does. He's working the holiday shift at the hospital, so she thought it'd be nice to bring him a home cooked meal." And Vi's like, "Oh, really?" And Robin said, "It's just a way of saying thanks." Vi says, "A pie says thanks. A goose says, mm." And I was like, "Vi, it's so crazy." Then Dee comes in and she's like worried about how her hair looks and all this stuff because she's going to meet her boyfriend Cam's entire family at their annual Christmas Eve party. So Dee has a bit of the jitters. So Robin is reminiscing about when she met Miles' family. And Vi said, "Girl, you ran a background check on every member." She said, "I had to know what I was getting into." I said, "Robin is so crazy." So Vi's telling Dee just to be her own fabulous self. And Robin said, "Don't do anything you wouldn't do just to impress a boy." And then Dee goes, "Ma, isn't that a goose you're cooking? Isn't that Dad's favorite?" And Vi starts choking. Something's in my throat. I was laughing. It's like she's doing something to impress a boy. You know what I mean? So now we're at the hospital and we see Dante and his partner standing by the room of, what's her name, Lamadad. And the doctor comes out and she's sick to her stomach for having to save the life of an assassin. She said, so she's going on vacation to get drunk. So she goes away and the two federal agents are talking. And that's when we find out that Dante wasn't even supposed to be there. He was supposed to be off duty. So now here he is on Christmas Eve working. So they're talking, and then we hear Christmas carolers. They're singing la 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 fa la 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 la, and they harmonizing. And then you see Robin walk up, and she's so excited about hearing the music, and she got a plate of food, for Miles. And all of a sudden, Miles come around the corner and say, "Rob, what you doing here?" And she's like, "Oh, I thought I'd bring you some food for the holidays." And he said, "Roasted goose." So even he felt like she was doing something special for him. You know what I mean? But anyway, while the two of them are talking, all of a sudden you hear somebody go, "Robin, and it's Dante. Dante is in the same hospital as Robin. And he's looking at Miles, and Miles is looking at Marcus, and Robin is looking at both of them like, oh, shoot. So she introduces both of them, and they're like, nice to meet you. And I was like, they looking at each other, and she's like, oh, I guess you work in the case. He said, I'm not at liberty to say. And then he's like, nice to meet you, Miles. And he's like, I gotta go. And Robin said, okay. And Miles asked, who's that? A colleague? And before she could answer, his beeper, or pager, whatever went off, and he's like, he got to run. So it saved her. But then she was looking down the hall, and I don't know if she was looking for Dante going down the hall, or she was looking at Miles's butt as he walked down the hall, you know. But I thought that was so funny. They in the same hospital. She probably didn't even know he was still in town. Who knows? So then we have this quick scene with Mel and Harry, and she's giving him a gift for him to give it to her for Christmas because she told him he is not good at picking out gifts for her. He thinks he's great at picking out these things, like she likes recycling, and he got her the skirt out of recycle, or a outfit made out of recycling cans or something. You know, it was like he gets these gifts that she does not like. So she bought something herself for him. But he said, nope, this time I promise this year I have a great gift. I don't need it. Believe me, I have a great gift. And y'all going to find out at the end, he did have a great gift. So now back at Lamadad's room, she's throwing up, something's wrong. And Miles comes in and says she's bleeding internally. He has to take her to surgery quick, get the handcuffs off her. So while this is going on, we see Robin leaving the hospital, and this EMS worker carrying this heavy bag hit her in the leg, and she's like, ow. And the other guy came over and said, oh, I'm sorry, and asked her, was she okay and stuff. And then he called her a Christmas angel. But while he was talking to her, she noticed a tattoo on his neck. And I don't know what it was, but it was something that clicked in her head. So they left, and she calls Marcus and asks if the reason he's in the hospital had to do with the cartel connect. He asks why, and she tells him about the 6 men who look like trained mercs just entered the hospital and snuck into the ER. So he tells her about Lama Di, and then she tells him he needs to get her out of the hospital, and he says he can't because she just went back into surgery. And he said, and Robin, Miles is operating. And Robin's eyes got so wide, and her facial expression was like filled with concern. I'm telling y'all. So then the mercs pulled out guns, and hospital personnel and patients started running and screaming. And Marcus said, what's that? And she said, they're coming for you. Lock down this hospital now. And Marcus seemed to be standing there shocked. So now we have Special Agent Shaw telling the patients and non-essential personnel to go over to a safe room in another wing of the hospital so they'll be safe. And then Dante tells them about these special doors that they have that they were put in after 9/11 that might give them some protection against these sicarios who are coming for them. I was calling them mercs, but they say sicarios. So Dante asked his 2 team members any clue how these guys knew Lama Da was here. And one guy said, we did everything by the book. And the other one, Shaw, added, yeah, but we didn't have time to, vet every single staff member that came in contact with her. So then Robin comes over, she finds Marcus and tells him she's going to see if Harry can hack into the cameras because she needs eyes and ears. And Dante said, yeah, I'll call NYPD for backup. And so one of his team members say, who the hell is she? And Dante said, our best chance of getting through this. And the 2 team members, Shaw and that guy, look at each other like, okay, whatever. Then Harry's at the bar talking to Mel, and he gets the call from Robin. Then he and Mel run downstairs to the sanctum. Harry gets the hospital cameras up on the screen, and he lets Robin know that they just killed a security guard. And Dante said that NYPD is like 35 minutes away. And Robin said, I don't think we could hold them off that long. And Mel said, that's okay, I'll be there in 15. And then she says, wow, this is going to need a bigger gun. And Harry says, you don't mean? And Mel said, yep. Time to break out Cutie Pie. I said, who is Cutie Pie? I thought that was so cute. I like that because Cutie Pie sounds like she bigger than, that gun is bigger than Mel. Mel is like a little cutie pie, if you ask me. Anyway, Harry tells them they have a nurse at gunpoint, and she's pointing them to the location where y'all are. And so Dante tells Robin there's 2 ballistic emergency doors that can seal off this wing. So they went to the furthest one and hit the button to seal it off just as those men were coming towards them. And they started shooting at the door, but they couldn't break in. Now, back at the McCall household, we have Delilah coming down looking like a beautiful angel. She is slaying, as Aunt Vi told her. So the doorbell rings and it's Cam. And when he comes in and sees her, he's like, whoa, that's all he could say. And so while they're talking, Aunt Vi see a breaking news on the TV and she turns it on and she see the Memorial Hospital, which is the one that Miles works at. So she turns it up and she's listening, and Delilah turns around and walks over there and she's like, oh my goodness. And Cam's like, you know somebody there? She said, my dad works there and my mom is going to visit him. So she's concerned like big time. So Cam is like, you should call him. She said, no, I can't call him because if they're hiding, then it'll give away their location. And he's like, what? And Vi was like, oh, you know, she watches too many of these detective TV shows or something like that. So then Vi said, I'm going to find out what's going on. And she goes and calls Harry and asks Harry, can he get them out? And he's like, yeah. And then he's like, I don't know. You know, he's telling the truth or whatever. Anyway, Vi comes back in the living room and tells her everything's good, they're together, and they're safe or something like that. And then they hear Cam on the phone telling his parents that her parents are being held hostage. And he's like, no, Dad, I'm telling the truth. So Delilah went over there and told him he should go. And he's like, no, I'm staying. She's like, no, you should go. You got a family thing. Go ahead. And I'll let you know as soon as I hear from my parents. And he's like, you sure? She said, yeah. So he leaves out the door. And she goes and sits down with Aunt Vi. And they're sitting there watching the TV, just nervous. All of a sudden, you hear the door opens back up. And it's Cam telling them that he told the Uber driver to leave. And so he said, look, if I'm with you, I'm with you. And she's like, I'm so glad you came back. And I was like, oh, how sweet. This was too sweet. And then he came and sat on the couch with them. So now back over at Roy Lewis Memorial Hospital, we have the leader of these bad guys, Armando Reyes. He's a freelance Sicario. And he's got more kills, they said, than something Harry said. He's dangerous. Let's just put it that way. So he comes over the intercom and he's playing Feliz Navidad. So he must have shot whoever's in the surveillance room and killed them. And he's watching everybody, all the cameras. And he notices Robin. He calls her the Christmas angel, you know. And he's like telling him, I give me la madad. And then he said, you know what happens to the little bad boys and girls at Christmas time or something like that. And he shuts off the cameras and it canceled the feed, whereas Harry couldn't see anything that was going on. So they have no idea. Right now they're in the dark with what they're doing. And all of a sudden, two of his men come to that door that they closed and kept trying to shoot through. And they put two tall cans, they look like oxygen tanks, right by the door. And Dante was over there on the other side of the door saying, I wonder what they're doing. And all of a sudden, Robin said, get back, get back. And you hear them shoot and it blew a hole in the door. And Dante went flying to the floor and was knocked out. I mean, knocked out. Robin had to try to get him. She's shooting and fighting. Shaw comes. They're just shooting. One of them get killed or something like that. And they drag Dante past the second door and hit that button, and it slammed closed. So they couldn't get through that door now. So now we have Dante on a gurney, and Miles is working on him, trying to get him to wake up. And Robin's just feeling on him and rubbing on him. And Dante, wake up. Dante, wake up. Dante, and Miles is paying attention how she's rubbing his face and looking. He is like, what is going on here? You know, he already knows something going on. It was too funny. And then, you know, he woke up and he said, hey, you know. I'm sorry, y'all. This is tickling me. So Harry calls to find out if everybody's okay, and then he lets Robin know that there's a way to get out of the hospital if they could break through a wall. And she's like, thanks, I'll get some men on it. So now back over to Miles and Marcus. Oh, Lord. I guess Miles pulled that 6-inch metallic object out of Marcus's shoulder, and he's wrapping him up, bandaging him, and he's like, how do you and Robin know each other again? And Marcus said, we work together on occasion. He said, oh, like part of her team? And he said, no, we got our own thing. I said, I don't even know how that sounded right now. And Miles said, so do we. About 20 years now. And Dante said, yeah, you're the ex-husband, right? I'm still laughing, y'all. I'm sorry. So Miles did something to him, said it's my responsibility to let you know that as a doctor, this is going to hurt. And he did something to try to hurt Marcus. And Marcus said, it's all good. And then Miles walked away and Marcus was smiling, smirking. Y'all, I'm cracking up. I'm sorry. So now back at the McCall household, Dee's realizing that Aunt Vi is a little upset and she goes back there where Aunt Vi is just messing around with a Christmas tree or something like that. And she asks, is she okay? She's like, no. And she's like, turn around, look at me. And she's like talking her down, trying to say, Mom has been through a whole lot worse than this. We'll get through it. Don't worry. And Cam goes, excuse me, did you just say your mom's been through a lot worse than this? And they turned around, Delilah Cole turned around and said, yeah, she did a couple of tours in the military overseas. He said, oh, I didn't know. But to me, it's almost like you're eavesdropping. Why would you even say anything then? That was kind of weird for me, but I would have kept quiet and pretended I didn't hear what she was saying to her aunt. So now back at Roy Lewis Memorial Hospital, we have Armando Reyes telling Robin that he's going to cancel Christmas. Basically, they about to execute these four Santa Clauses. They were the carolers that were singing and stuff earlier, and they turned back on the cameras, and Harry's telling them what's going on. Said they're right outside the door. They're going to execute them. And at this point, you have two options: give up Lama Dodd, or let the hostages get killed. And Robin said, I'm going with option three. I'm going out there. And her and Marcus pulled up their guns and she was about to hit the button. And Mel said, not if I get them first. And Mel said she's up on the roof and that she sees six figures. And so Harry talked her through the figures. She said the four are the hostages and the two by themselves are the bad guys. So she took them out. Pop, pop. I was like, go, Mel! Mel had Cutie Pie on the roof doing her thing. And then she said she coming down to meet them in the hospital. But I don't know how she could meet them in the hospital if the police NYPD couldn't get in because the bad guys had the perimeter of the hospital blocked at every entrance. So when Armando saw that his people got killed, he turned off the feed again. He turns it on so they could see bad stuff happening, and then he turns it off, So he must know that they were watching. And Robin said that's okay because they're almost through to the service hallway to get out of that other path that Harry told them about. So now they ready to move out and go through that hole. And Lama Doll is acting like she have a pain and she don't want to go. And she's like, it's too much pain. And Miles is like, it's not adding up. I don't know. There must be some other complication because she's not showing any signs of having anything else wrong. So that's when Robin and Marcus start talking and they're like, they're not buying this because she can go through the pain for anything because she's supposed to be the baddest Sicario in the world or whatever it is. So that's when they put it together in their head like she's working along with them. This is not a kill mission. This is a rescue. So Marcus yelled, guys, fall back. Lamada is in on this. And then Shaw turns around. He was pushing Lamada in the wheelchair. He turns around and shoots the other guy that was part of Marcus' team and kills him. Then there's a lot of gunfire. Lama Da get out the wheelchair. She's shooting. The bad guys come and meet them. And Marcus says Shaw must have gave them our location. And Robin tells Miles to stay down. But then the next thing you know, Shaw grabs Miles and use him as a bulletproof, so that they can't shoot him. And Lama Da said, yeah, bring a doctor. I might need him. And as the gunfire is going, you hear Miles yell, Rob. And then you see Mel. Mel shows up and she helps them with shooting the bad guys. So they got in the elevator and went up to the roof. And I guess there's a helipad up there. So there must have been some kind of helicopter waiting for them. Meanwhile, Robin is like, Harry, Dee's father is not dying today. You got to do something. So Harry must have let them know where they landed because Mel, Marcus, and Robin showed up at that airport as they were about to try to board a plane, and the gunfire went. It started going back and forth, front and back. Lamada got shot and killed by Marcus, and Armando got shot and killed by Robin. Shaw grabbed Miles and was trying to run, and Marcus told Robin he was going to go and try to talk him down. Well, that didn't happen. Marcus asked Shaw when did he turn on him? When did he do this? He said everybody got a price. And so he told Marcus he had to put down the gun, else he was going to put a hole in the doctor's head. So Marcus put the gun down, and Miles said, no, what are you doing? Shoot him. He's going to kill me anyway. But Shaw had told Miles he was going to let him go once he got free or something like that. But Miles didn't believe him. And Marcus said, no, I'm good. He put his gun down, and Shaw pointed his gun at him. And Robin was standing right behind Shaw and shot him and killed him. And then Robin went and was hugging on Miles and holding him tight while Marcus was looking on. So they both had that time when Robin was giving them much love, y'all know. So this was a real good episode, I'm telling y'all. So now we back at the bar, downstairs in the sanctum, the Bat Cave, whatever. And Harry is giving Mel her Christmas gift. And he said how in the middle of the night he would hear her humming and singing, and she was playing one of his guitars and popped a couple of his strings, he noticed. And she said, oh, you knew? And his gift to her was her very own guitar. And he said the world deserves to hear her and her speech. And all of this was because of her therapist asked her to do this, something, with the arts. So anyway, then we heard her singing her song that she had written, and they were flashing to the different scenes that were happening, like Robin and Miles coming into the house, and Dee and Aunt Vi running over there hugging him and stuff. First it was Dee, and then Aunt Vi got in it, and Cam was standing there by himself, and Miles waved him over so he could join in the family hug. It was so cute. And then they showed Marcus at the crime scene talking to the police. I don't know what the purpose of that was for, but then they had that. And then it ended with Robin at the house in the kitchen talking to Aunt Vi, who said she would have just died if Robin didn't make it through that, walk through that door. And then Miles came into the kitchen and Vi hugged him, but didn't say anything other than Miles, and she left. And then Robin said, Miles, we need to talk. And she basically let him know that, they can't be a couple. They can't be back together again. He said, last time I did that, I lost you, and I'll never do that again. He said, when I think of home, I think of you. She told him we will always be family, but I can't promise you a home, is basically what she told him. Then she invited him out to Mel's place, said a few of them were going out there for drinks for the holidays. And he said he wanted to take a rain check on that. So when she got there, Dee and Cam and Mel and Harry were there. And then Marcus came in while Robin was ordering a drink, and he said, make it two. And then he asked where, and she said, my ex-husband. And that's funny because at the hospital, when he asked, is that your ex-husband? She said, that's Miles. And now she's saying he's her ex-husband. I said, Robin is a trip. So Marcus said he's a good man. And Robin toasted to good men, meaning him too. And then he toasted and to good women, and Mel was smiling. And then she's like, oh, that's so sweet. And Robin and Marcus turn around, and you see Dee and Cam kissing. And he said, looks like you could use another drink. And Robin said, or three. Because her face was like, oh my Lord. And I forgot, Aunt Vi was there too. And then they all lifted their cups and toasted to having a Merry, Merry Christmas. So I guess we're not going to have an episode next week, y'all. We probably won't have any more episodes now until January. So happy holidays to all of you. I hope you like this episode of The Equalizer because I loved it. It's your girl, Barbie J, saying please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Happy holidays, everyone. Peace.